Singapore politicians not only have very high pay, but in fact, they are the highest paid government leaders in the world. Unsurprisingly, there have been many complaints saying that our ministers' pay is too high. So in this video, we'll be looking at how much our ministers are actually earning, hint a lot, how is the pay determined, and how does their pay compare to leaders from the other countries, and more importantly, is their high pay actually justified? Before I start, do join my Telegram group to discuss anything related to money or ask any questions that you may have. Alright, let's jump right in. Fun fact, our minister's pay was much lower back then. That's because back then, Singapore was still a rather poor nation and only those who were passionate enough would go into politics. From 1955 to 1973, the Prime Minister was paid a fixed amount of $3,500 a month. That later increased to $9,500 a month in 1973. Then, as more and more Singaporeans have real families and real aspirations in life, the pay had to be increased in order to attract the best talents to serve Singapore. To understand how well paid our ministers are, we can first compare the pay of government leaders across the world. As it turns out, Singapore Prime Minister is the highest paid government leader in the world, with an annual salary of 1.61 million US dollars or 2.2 million Singapore dollars. In fact, the Singapore Prime Minister earns almost 3 times as much as the next highest paid minister, that's from Hong Kong. Besides that, the Singapore Prime Minister earns 4 times as much as the President from the United States, a country that has the biggest economy in the world and has a much larger population. So there's no one that's even earning close to Singapore's Prime Minister. So how are our ministers' pay determined? For new ministers, their salaries are based on the median income of the top 1,000 Singapore citizens income earners, with a 40% discount to reflect the spirit of political service. This is because the responsibilities of these 1,000 top earners is a reasonable level that reflects the quality and abilities of people that Singapore is looking for. And who are these 1,000 top earners? As expected, they are people who hold positions such as CEO, CFO, presidents, and directors, as well as people from the financial service industry, lawyers, accountants, doctors, and engineers. The salary of a new minister is pegged at the MR4 grade. After that, the rest of the salaries will then be based on a ratio from the MR4 grade. For example, the Prime Minister would earn around 2 times the salary of a new minister, whereas a MR1 level minister would earn 1.6 times the salary. So that's how the minister pay system works. In general, the pay is reviewed every 5 years. In the review back in 2012, the ministers got a huge pay cut. After that, the pay has remained the same all the way till 2017. Then in 2017, there were no changes to the pay, which means the minister's pay hasn't changed since more than 10 years ago. The next review was supposed to be done in 2023, though 2024 is here and nothing has happened yet. So we might probably see a review soon. Quick pause, did you know that besides Weibo's awesome sign-up rewards, it also has one of the most competitive pricing on the market? For the US market, during regular and extended hours, they are only charging a very low fee of 0.025% of the trade amount, with a minimum of just 50 cents. And for overnight hours, they are charging 0.03% of total trade amount with a minimum of 89 cents. As for the SGS market, they are also charging a low fee of just 0.05% of the trade amount with a minimum of $1.60. Same for the Hong Kong and China market, where they are charging a super low fee of 0.02% to 0.03% with a minimum of $12. And if you are a US options trader, you'll be glad to know that Weibo is just charging 55 cents per contract with no minimum. Weibo also offers really good conversion rates for whenever you want to convert your currency. And last but not least, Weibo doesn't charge any platform fee and no maintenance fee for the US market, all of which lets you save more money while trading with Weibo. Also, if you sign up using my link down below, fund $2,000 into the account and keep the money there till 31st March 2024, you get to win 100 SGD worth of Tesla shares. But if you are able to fund $100,000 and maintain the funds till 31st January 2025, you will get to earn $2,500 worth of Tesla shares. Weibo also launched a new transfer promo, from which you could possibly get up to 3,000 SGD worth of free shares by fulfilling the requirements. So if you are interested in trying out Weibo, do sign up to them using my link down below. With that being said, let's get back to the video. Anyway, the salary can be divided into fixed and variable components. The fixed component consists of the monthly salary and the 13-month salary. As for the variable component, obviously they can't just anyhow happy give bonus to themselves. Instead, the variable component would have to be based on actual performances, which can be broken down into 3 parts. 1. Individual performance bonus, where they see how well the minister has performed. This can range anywhere between 3 to 6 months, though the average between 2013 to 2017 was at 4.3 months. Though the Prime Minister does not have an individual performance bonus, as there's no one there to assess his performance. 2. National bonus. This bonus is determined based on the real median income growth rates of Singapore citizens, real growth rate of the lowest 20th percentile income, the unemployment rates of Singapore citizens, and real GDP growth rate. This can range anywhere between 3.4 to 4.9 months, and the average is at 4.1 months. Lastly, the annual variable component will range anywhere between 0.95 to 1.5 months, with the average being 1.3 months. So if you add them all up, a minister could have a take-home annual pay of around 20 months. Finally, there are also 2 things to take note of. 1. Even though some of our ministers may hold more than 1 appointment, they will still receive only 1 pay package no matter what. For example, Minister Josephine Teo holds 4 positions, while Minister Edwin Tong holds 2 positions. 2. Since 2011, the pension system for ministers has been removed. This means when they retire, they would have to rely on the CPF system like the rest of us. Now that you know how much our ministers are earning, I guess the question is their high pay justified? To answer this, we can first look at the corruption index. As PM Lee has said back in 2020, it's best to pay the person according to what he is worth and according to what he is contributing. Because if you don't do that, you will either compromise on the quality of the civil service, or people will find ways to make up and compensate camouflage forms of compensation. So, has high pay been effective in preventing corruption? The short answer is yes. Based on the Corruption Perception Index 2022, Singapore is ranked as the 5th least corrupt country in the world. In fact, it is the only Asian country ranked in the top 10 least corrupt countries. However, I also wanted to find out whether there is any correlation between how much the government is getting paid versus corruption. So, while researching, I came upon an article in the News Lens. Interestingly, the article was by none other than Roy Neng, the same guy who got into trouble with the government a few years back. Anyway, let's see what he has to say. In the article, there's a chart which shows that there's indeed a correlation here. The higher a political leader's salary, the better the country ranks on the Corruption Perception Index. This means the high pay is rather effective to deter corruption in most countries. However, you might be wondering, where is Singapore in this chart? It's actually all the way to the right, as our ministers are highly paid. Besides the Corruption Perception Index, we can also look at how the government pay correlates to the GDP per capita. Essentially, GDP per capita measures the average output of each person in the country. So, the higher GDP per capita is, the higher the average well-being of the people in the country. Again, there's a correlation here, where the higher GDP per capita a country has, the higher the political leader's salary. But again, Singapore is all the way to the right. This is the same situation when we look at the political leader's pay versus executive pay. So it's quite obvious that Singapore ministers are paid quite well. In fact, I can already see the people in the comments furiously typing, see lah, they pay themselves so much money. Okay, let me just share with you how I view this. In 2023, the government has a budget of around $123 billion. If we add up the total pay of all the ministers that we have, it will come out to be around $20 million. While it may sound like a lot, it's still about 0.002% of the budget. When you look at it this way, the high pay is just a tiny price to pay if it can help to prevent ministers from taking bribes, while at the same time attracting the top talents to serve the country. So one way to think of it is this. Do you prefer to just pay the government a high pay, high enough so that they will have to think twice before taking a bribe? Or do you prefer to cut their pay while at the same time let them deal with billion-dollar projects and pray that there won't be any corruption? Something to think about there. Anyway, hope you found this interesting. Like, share and subscribe, as I'll be posting new videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday.